Hey everybody, welcome to week 2 of the economics course. So thanks, I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving weekend and everything. And so now Thanksgiving's done, and I know a lot of people do the Black Friday shopping madness thing, so that's maybe behind you. And now we're into the next holiday season, so I got my Charlie Brown scenery up here instead of a regular scenery. I also got my own, very own Charlie Brown Christmas tree. So there you go. Um, Inspiration for the week. Those of you who are been with me a while, but if you're new to me, I harp a lot about making school part of everyday life, like a cup of coffee, or like you take care of if you have kids. You don't wait until Sunday to take care of all the daily things you do with your kids. You do it every day. Same thing with school. Um, I mean, there's lots of obstacles in the way during the week, things, job, family, holidays, lots of things, but like I got written here, if you wait for the perfect conditions, you'll never get it done. And I got an extra one this week. Sometimes a lot of people in your lives may, I call them naysayers. People tell you, well, maybe you shouldn't be doing it, or take a break, or, how are you able to do that? And they say it with this negative condensation tone that, how could you do this, you're not smart enough, or whatever the case is, and so just remember, um, they said you couldn't do it, the road's long, journey, all that stuff. And then we got the little joke line here about the dry heaves. If you've ever been active, very active in sports, a runner or some other things where you just push yourself so far you get the dry heaves from it. Same thing with school. You may push yourself and get to a point where, okay, you got to stop for a second and, catch your breath, but you need to keep going. If you're taking this course, you might just be at the beginning stage, depending on where you're at on, the program, but you just need to, I mentioned before in the other videos, this is an opportunity you have that lots of people won't ever get. And, this is what you want to do, your goals, and you need to stick to it, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Or, uh, so that's it. There you go. Alrighty, so let's get into the course from here real quick. Okay, so last week discussion's good. The homeworks. The ones I see, those were good too. Dun, dun, dun. Hold on here, let me get it. So last week, last week's homework, you had to fill in the questions. So, like I said, the ones I've seen, very good there. If you did have problems with it, I will have sent you something pointing out which ones you got wrong, or if there was an issue with anything. So, all right. Then moving into week 2 here, you got 4 chapters. Okay, so chapter 4, supply and demand. One of the things I need to emphasize in this course, because this is basic economics, but it is very important that this is not a course where you can jump into the second week or the 4th week, because a lot of the material builds upon previous material. So you have to know week 1 stuff to move on to week 2 and 3, so forth. So I just want to make sure we're clear on that, so you're not trying to play catch up and then you're lost later on. So supply and demand, you got, this first slide there, on the presentation, you have all these, what the objectives are, learning objectives, LO, and then you got 1 through 7 for, chapter, what are we on here, chapter 4. So the short version of supply and demand, though, is, that's an economic term. If, generally, if it's something that's not a big demand for it, it might cost more, and we start getting into graphs, things like that. Further down here, like later on, graphs. So graphing is something you have to kind of learn in the Excel. Let's see, I think there's, so there's different types of graphs. You don't have to be a wizard at it, but, you may have to kind of get a basic understanding from it. And if you can't get it out of the material in the book and here, YouTube is something we didn't have when I was young, but, you can go into YouTube now and find anything you want to find on how to do things. So if you're having problems on how to build a graph or how to do it, it's in there on YouTube too. So besides myself and the text and the slides, that's another resource for you. So, all right. Okay, so chapter 5, household consumption sector. Okay, so we get, again, you have first slide, you got your different things that are part of your learning objectives. But what you get into here is, there's a lot of, again, like in most courses, there's a lot of definitions and terms and everything that are unique to economics. So, like on the news, you'll hear them say GDP, and a lot of people may have no idea what that is, and even when you say gross domestic product, you may not know what that is. I mean, but this is a definition for it. So another thing, so you need to be familiar with definitions and concepts and terms and things like that, and how it all interacts. Again, further down, another graph. So just kind of start getting familiar with the graphs, but don't let them freak you out if graphs are not your thing. It's something we can work with. So chapter, that was 4 or 5. Okay, chapter 6. You got the business side again. You got consumers and you got the business. So there's two different sides of economics. And then chapter 7, we got the government side. Whoops. And get back here. Got the government sector. Now this is where you get into, again, you have all the learning things here. They also have this thing about the graph. And this is a progressive graph they're trying to show you throughout each of the chapters. But the other thing that covered in this chapter is the, how the government works, how it spends. So this is I mean, they're all interesting chapters, but this one's interesting because it kind of explains how spending operates, how taxes work, how the what's the other thing? State, local governments, how and the federal, and then also like we get into Social Security. And there's that one graph. Like I said, I mean, don't let it distract you or anything, or spaz you out. But I mean, again, learning how to do graphs is just part of it. And let me see, there's another thing I want to show you down here about taxes, type of taxes, direct, indirect, but I also want to show you the Social Security tax. A lot of people don't understand, and if you've been in any of my other economic courses or marketing classes, sometimes I bring up things about minimum wage. We all know minimum wage is way too low, but at the same time, because there's so many taxes, for some businesses, it's very difficult to pay higher wages. Even higher company, even the big companies. One of the studies that came out last year when they were talking about $15 an hour for Walmart. If Walmart just magically Monday morning decided to do that, there would not be a Walmart open a week later, because the amount of money it would take to pay the employees that $15 an hour would exceed the billions in profit they make. So there's a lot of problems in that, but yeah. So you got these different taxes here, payroll tax, and here's the other one, payroll taxes. So employers, a lot of people don't realize that we pay out of our paycheck. Hey, we got all this money coming out to Social Security taxes, Medicare, unemployment, things like that. But what a lot of people don't realize is that employers match that money. So if you're paying out $200 or $300, 200, 300 in these taxes every 2 weeks, the employer's matching that times all the employees they got. If it's 10 employees, like think of a small business just has 20 employees, right? And there's between 20 employees, they withhold $1,000 or $2,000. Well, they have to match that, so that's 4,000. So I mean, I'm just saying, I'm just pointing that out because a lot of people don't understand that. They don't understand why there's opposition by small businesses to things like minimum wage. However, if you got rid of all those taxes, those businesses would be able to pay higher wages. So see, there's another argument for another discussion. So anyway, so that's what that chapter covers. And I think, let me make sure here, discussion, homework. Okay, same thing with the homework. The questions at in the chapter. Yep. And then you got your your quiz and your discussion. So all right. And if you got any questions, let me know. So I'll just quit here because I went on a little bit. And as always, I got my test questions. So I had the grandson over. Was over at the house today, and I did these on Sunday. So you can let me know what the Grandman was doing here and helping out with. So otherwise, okay. Again, hope everybody had a great weekend. Have a great upcoming week. Get in touch with me if you need anything. And that's it. Take care. Have a great week.